In this video, we are going to talk about an important concept that is very much required for people who are involved in deployment on the DataPower. So if you are associated with a team which does the deployment on the DataPower, perhaps this video is for you. An important concept in the deployment is rollback. Assuming you have deployed code and configuration on the DataPower, and later on figured out that due to some reason you have to roll back. How would you roll back the deployment on the DataPower? Remember, deployment does not mean you do only one or two changes. Of course, one approach is to do a manual rollback. But as you would agree, manual rollback could be an option only in lower environments like development. As you move to higher environments like SIT environment or user acceptance testing environment, or for example, production environment, you will need an automated way which can guarantee the restoration of state of the DataPower before the deployment. In order to solve this problem, you will have to understand the concept of checkpoints in the DataPower. Checkpoints are backup of DataPower at a particular instant in time. You can create as many checkpoints as you want. And these checkpoints are of such nature that you can always roll back to a particular checkpoint. This can be best illustrated with an example. So let's get started. I have an XML firewall over here, you can see, and I would like you to focus on two of its properties. One, it has an XML manager default and it has a local, make it simple. It has a local IP address 00 and it has a port number 8001. Fine. This is the current state of the XML firewall. I can have many other objects on the DataPower similarly, and they will have their own current state. But to illustrate the checkpoint feature, I will just focus on the XML firewall. What I intend to do is I want to have a version 2 of XML firewall deployed on the DataPower appliance, where I intend to change its local IP address and port number. And later on, I would like to show you that due to some reason, I want to do a rollback and I am going to do an automatic rollback. So let's first ensure that I take the snapshot of this application domain at this point in time. How? Here you can say configuration checkpoint. Go to configuration checkpoint, give it a name, maybe before deployment, and maybe the build number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I'm going to click on save checkpoint. So when I clicked on save checkpoint, what DataPower is doing is, for this application domain, it is going to create a backup, a zip file, and it will store that zip file. If you refresh the list, you will see the name of the checkpoint that we gave it, the time that it was created, and there are some action buttons which we will come back later on. So this is the current state of DataPower captured in this checkpoint. Now, to simulate the deployment, let's go back to the XML firewall and let us make those changes which I just spoke about, which means here I'm going to apply this B2B service interface, and here I'm going to say 8005. Fine. I did some manual changes. Similar changes can be deployed using any other tool. Whatever the case may be, I don't worry about the final state of the XML firewall. I just want to illustrate the point. So here I have my changes deployed on the XML firewall, as you can see. Now, as you can also see that there is an obvious error, and I need a way to go back to the previous state of the XML firewall. How do I do that? I don't make a change manually over here. No, I'm going to go back to the checkpoint. I remember that this is the checkpoint that I created. I noted down its time and I remember it with the build number, etc. I'll say rollback. Let it do. It will take some time. What it is doing is, behind the scene, it extracts the zip file, which was the backup at that point in time, and then it restores the definition of objects from that. So I close it. Now I click on Save the Configuration. Go back to the control panel. Again, let's open the definition of XML firewall. Click on Mock Backend. And as you can see, its local address and port number is back to what it was. So this is in short what the configuration checkpoints are and how they can help you during the build and deployment, in particular deployment. But there are some limitations of this approach as well, which you should be aware of. The configuration checkpoint will not be able to restore the files that you may have deleted from the file system. Take an example. I have some certificate files over here. If I go ahead and delete these files, even though I create a configuration checkpoint, even though I create a configuration checkpoint and I intend to roll back, even though I do the rollback, this certificate file will not come back. This is the limitation of the configurational checkpoint. So this is not only true for certificate folder, any of the folder that you have here. And if you mess up with files present there, you cannot expect the configurational checkpoint to give back your file. This is a limitation of the current configurational checkpoint feature present in the DataPower. So be aware about it. Second, you might be wondering where DataPower is keeping the checkpointed zip file. Well, those files are present under the checkpoint folder. This folder is something that DataPower populates, and you are not supposed to mess up with this. This is, you can see, you have a zip file with exactly the same name that your checkpoint has, and I'm not sure if this can be downloaded. So one second, let me check. So I can close the menu, and no, this file I will not be able to download. So it will remain on the DataPower and there is no way to download and back up this file. This is all about the configurational checkpoint. It's a great tool for deployment and rollback scenario, but use it with a caution. Thanks for watching.